race. And there's a lot of theories out there, whether it was the reptilians, the Anunnaki, the Pleiadians, the Arcturians. And I just give you my opinion. I believe that everyone, that they're all right because the planet's a big place. It's no different than a major car company comes up with a new engine or a new car. What happens? All the other car companies around the world, all the major ones, build something similar to it. May not be the same, but it's very similar. I think it's very plausible that there were multiple races, benevolent and not so benevolent, that came here, colonized it, and built humans for specific reasons. And this is why we have so many different races and colors and languages. So getting back to the crop circles, I believe that the crop circles are for, again, a multitude of reasons, and that it's absolutely benevolent, such as, I had a really great conversation with Suzanne Taylor, who did the documentary What on Earth, and there was the famous crop circle that Carl Sagan helped develop, where it was basically the binary code that had the human DNA structure, the message, everything. And like 20 or 30 years later, a long time later, an answer came back. And it was a little figure. It was a copper-based DNA code instead of the carbon-based and all that.
Yeah, that makes sense. There's I know some astrophysicists, and I can't mention their name, and I won't because they had some extreme adverse problems around. But they did work for SETI, and they did receive signals, and they said they're in they were in ultraviolet, infrared, things of that nature. The signals were coming back, which would make sense that they wouldn't be a radio signal. They'd be using some kind of light technology.
Oh, but, absolutely. In fact, the Arcturians' vessels, their ships, is actually an energy itself that's on a level that can only be picked up through very intense, beyond the spectrum of ultraviolet. And of course, our United States government has that technology, but they don't have the technology they can't do anything about them.
Yeah.
They wish they could. I know that for a fact, but they simply can't do anything about them. That's why that's one of the things that's integrated into the secret space program as far as the security. And also, that is also one of the reasons why chemtrails and weather modification to darken out the sky.
So do you think so it's basically not so much weather modification or whatever, that's actually for using these other technologies to see who's coming and going?
It's a little bit of, that is part of it, yes. I mean, obviously the weather modification is for weather wars itself, and we have the horrible with Morgellons going on, and then also DARPA's horrible Frankenstein creation of smart dust, and then, of course, the chemicals of killing crops and all of that. That's with the technology of weather modification, with chemtrails, HARP, all of that. It can be used for so many different reasons, but yes, it's absolutely one of the reasons they do that. And I asked a guy this at a speaking event I did not too long ago. He was the youngest one in the crowd, and I said, when you were young, when you were 9 years old, this was probably about 15 years ago for him. I said, imagine, close your eyes. I had him do that, and I said, imagine looking up in the sky and how blue it was. And then I told everyone in the crowd, think about when you were kids and you looked up in the sky, and now look up at the sky on a clear day now. The difference in color is absolutely, undeniably different.
Oh, yeah.
A blanket has been shielded over.
Yeah, it's pretty sickening, too, what they're spraying, because I know so many people, they'll do heavy spraying, and we had like 60% of the kids, come down with these extreme flu-like symptoms and out of the school, within a day after they sprayed. So, they're spraying some nasty stuff up there, and I know they've got aluminum, barium, and strontium, and
fluoride.
Yeah, a few other things. That would make sense. If I didn't know they're spraying fluoride. That's a new one, but that would be a definite dumb downing program.
Oh, yeah, and of course also within some chemtrails, not the entire trail because it would be a lot, but intermittently, some of these planes are shooting out the DARPA smart dust. And I'm not sure, James, if you're familiar with what that is.
I've heard about it, but I don't. Isn't it a way of just monitoring the dust? They can use it to monitor everything in the area?
It's exactly what it sounds like. It's smart dust. It is it's nanotechnology, and these little nanobots, which are of course, the nano scale, can do everything from monitor movement, sound. It's a surveillance type of system that DARPA has developed. I've actually uncovered through a contact of mine that is still currently working with DARPA, has shuffled some quite disturbing documents to me, which I'll be releasing here within the next few weeks on my website in what I'm calling the Forbidden Vault, which is going to have 50,000 documents or something ridiculous like that from all my research. But it's basically little flying cameras, really. But the smart dust can also do more than that. Imagine a truck coming by. You live in an apartment and you see what looks like a bug exterminator truck, and they're putting something in the ventilation because they're spraying bugs. But really, they're spraying smart dust. That smart dust goes in your ventilation, it comes out, and then someone far away is able to read whether what you move. It can read off frequencies off your computer, things like that. Pretty scary
crazy
stuff.
Yeah. It's just gone on and on and on. It seems kind of crazy. I've got some great footage of these Arcturian ships, actually. This one came down and actually split into three and then went back into one again and did all these crazy things. And we got it on film.
Was that at your the Aceti Ranch?
Yeah, it was on the mountain on Mount Adams there. And
fantastic. I've been looking into that, and I think I'm going to be maybe next year. I'd like to plan a trip up there with my fiance.
Yeah, definitely come up and see it. We have more of a real benevolent thing going on up here, and we have the Syrian sea lions and the Palladians and the Andromedans and Arcturians and it's a real high level stuff going on here, and it's all benevolent. And the information we're getting is that they're stepping up to the plate now. We're going to go through some huge changes, and this malevolent stuff is days are up, as well as the tyranny.
It's happening at an alarming but good alarming rate. I'm sure you're familiar with. Why did I just forget his name? Alex Collier.
Yes.
And he was at a conference in Hawaii, I think it was in January, actually, or sometime around there, where he had some updated information. I had the privilege of meeting him at the Awake and Aware conference in Los Angeles last year, and he had some very positive updated information about what is taking place and how the Andromedans are basically putting the pieces down so that the right people pick up those pieces in order for us to go into this shift, and this shift that's happening with this cosmic wave that's coming from the center of the galaxy, which is really it's a conscious wave. The JPL, the Jet Propulsion Laboratory, calls it a magnetic anomaly, as long as NASA, other research companies are calling it some kind of solar type of flare or something from a black hole. Again, from, so many people, so many theories.
The Mayans talk a lot about it too, and they talk about this compression, a huge compression of time that's going to happen where everything gets accelerated at an unbelievable rate, where all the karma, everything hits the surface, karma comes home to roost, everything. It's going to happen really fast, and everything that doesn't align with unity consciousness is going to basically implode on itself.
Well, I see it as this. Well, first of all, and this is a question really for everyone that's listening now, listen later on. In the past 2 to 3 years, because this wave actually already is, we're getting the first bit of it. It's just between 2012 and 2015 is when we're really going to be having the thick of it, because people need to understand that it's not necessarily going to be instant. because we've been hitting it on now. That's why there has been a lot of geological activity. Not every volcano and earthquake has been due to HAARP. A lot of them is because the Earth is shifting. And, of course, all the other planets in our solar system are going through a climate shift as well. But to get back for your listeners, think about the past 2 to 3 years. Have you noticed people getting more irritable? People lashing out more? A lot of it is due to the economy and everything going on, but also when you have a person that is asleep, when things start to shift in them, as far as maybe they get a little spark of this cosmic wave, they don't know how to react. And when your body doesn't know how to react, you become defensive. But people that are awake and enlightened will naturally embrace it. So this is what I'm seeing that's going to happen, not in December of 2012, maybe a little bit before, perhaps a little bit after. I don't know. But what's going to happen, I see the planet becoming not physically two worlds, but I see a kind of a shift, like you said, where there's going to be a split, and there's going to be a split where there will be people that maintain in a third density level, and there will be those that will raise their vibration, raise their frequency into a fourth or fifth density level. This doesn't mean that people are going to float up into the sky and be taken away, but they will naturally be able to do better with remote viewing, with telekinesis, with energy healing, by location remote viewing, such things as that, even echolocation. And I just hope that more people will wake up out of that, because the reality is, and again, allow me to express the military side of me, because there were a lot of classes that I had to take in studying of military behavior. I don't have a degree in people's behavior, but it goes with the territory. Unfortunately, the other side of it is that as we get closer to 2012, we're going to see a lot more cults coming out, maybe some massive suicides, people running the hills, people that are unfortunately embracing the doomsday side of things because of these mainstream medias and all this other dribble about all these movies and stuff about how the world's going to end in 2012. I don't believe the world's going to end in 2012, but I do know for a fact there's going to be a shift, and it's going to have a huge impact globally.
I agree. We're out of time, unfortunately. Can you give your website really quick? We've got to sign off. I'm going to have to get you on the show again, because I know we just touched the tip of the iceberg.
Anytime, James. I'd love to come on your show again. I'd love to have you on my new show when it comes out. All right, the website, Great. Which will be launching at the end of this month or the beginning of next month. I don't have an exact date yet, but it is www.universaltruthevolution.com. And I can even later on send you, let's definitely stay in contact, James, and have another show.
All right, we'll do that. We're gone a little over, so I've got to sign off. So can't thank you enough for coming on this show, and have a great evening. This is James Gillen with As You Wish Talk Radio, signing off. Have a great night.